Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Monday Night's Paranormal Question of the Day. We'll be right back right after a short intro. And we are back. So, we have an awesome guest with us tonight, and tonight we have Nick Simons from 28 Days Haunted.
Me.
Which you can find it on Netflix. Yes, still on Netflix.
Pointing at somebody else behind me there for a minute. It was like, somebody's awesome.
So, how you doing today, Nick?
Good. No, you just live up the road from me a little ways, and I think you got the same weather I did today. It was fairly warm.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad today. But then again, I'm in shorts every day, so...
You're one of those dudes that
yes, I am.
Out and they're still in shorts.
I shovel snow in -5-degree weather.
Too tough to die.
That's right. You just gotta keep summer in your head, and everything goes well.
Just think warm thoughts. You won't notice the frostbite on your shin.
Who needs that anyway? You got another one.
Yeah, nobody needs shins. What are shins good for? Splints? Shin splints. That's all they do. Other than that, they're just there.
Right. So we're just waiting for people to pile in, and as we get going, because people know we're live. But other than that, so should we hit off? Well, actually, we'll wait for some people to get in.
So what? 50 seconds.
Yeah, we're just gonna wait for some people to show up. There we go. We get one person right there.
Hey.
All right. And you know me, with my blind eyes, I have to use a phone to read it. Hey, Tori, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
You're not as blind as like some people that hold them up like this. And
yeah, I am. Hi, Kim. I just magnifying everything.
We got a guy at work that'll look at his phone like that. I'm like, hey man, did you get that text? He'd be like, hold on.
Yep, that's me.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's hilarious.
Yep, that's me. That's me in the hardcore of cell phone life. So,
it's Kim. Hi, Kim.
Yeah, I know. I think that's the second time I've seen her in my show. Glad to have you here, Kim.
two for Tuesday.
2 for Tuesday. Yeah. No, it's awesome to have them on here. It's they have their show on Thursday nights on Spreaker.com. So RAP Paranormal Friends, if you didn't know, go to Spreaker.com. Anyhow, so Nick, we'll start off with your first question today. So who is Nick Simons?
Nick Simons is just a big old redneck from eastern Iowa, western Illinois, neck of the woods. Your average ghost hunter. I say ghost hunter because I know there's purists out there that are like, it's actually a paranormal investigator. All right, cool. But you're not meeting other paranormal investigators. So an easy way to associate what you do with the average person is to say ghost hunter. So I just say I'm a big ghost hunter from eastern Iowa, western Illinois. I lack any special skills that goes along the lines of woo. I make for it. I make up for it with hearty skepticism and a whole array of things that blink and light up when a ghost is allegedly near. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, you're a big gadget guy, and that's the thing. A lot of people struggle with gadgets in the paranormal field, and it takes a while to know stuff. So, you got to know what you're doing when you're in the field.
That is one thing that you do see a lot when you're out and about doing like live events and stuff like that, live investigations and just working with other people. You see a lot of people that just take things for as seen on TV, like, oh wow, it's lighting up, there's a ghost here. You're standing next to a fluorescent light. Oh, let me move over there. Or SLS. Oh wow, he's on the door frame now. It's just tracking the corner of the door frame. If you move away from it, he will still stay on the door frame. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just, boo, right. I'm a scary ghost. I'm
Yeah.
not moving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying on the corner of the door frame. He's trying to warn us that the murderer hid the knife in the corner of the door frame. No. Sorry.
Yeah. The SLS is it's interesting. Stick figures I don't care for, but when it's on top of you, whatever they say, and then you're starting to feel the cold, like something's holding your hand at some point, well then I'm all right with it because then you have something to go with it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the SLS has come a long way. Well, there's only a few people that have like the new expanded version that does all the like cool groovy like purples and greens and stuff like that. But
3D depth of field.
yeah, it's come a long way from where it was when it first started out, and it's only going to continue to grow further and further. That's why I tell people all the time, continue to use this device and experiment with it. And, you know, a good place to start would be to hook it up to a tripod and shoot your room with that thing on a tripod, because you got to remember the AI inside of the SLS is designed to think that it's sitting on a coffee table watching somebody move around and play the controller for the video game. So when you're holding it on your chest, walking and breathing, it still thinks that it's sitting down static on the coffee table and the whole environment is moving. So it's like trying to track everything at once. There's one here, one over there, one over there. So put it on a tripod and just let it, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Level itself out.
Calibrate itself and see what you come up with then.
And I heard it's actually somewhat picking up shadow people. Is that true, or is that kind of like a myth?
That'd probably be the new upgraded model that we were talking about a minute ago.
The XLS?
With all the purples and greens, you kind of see shadows and stuff like that. I also seen an episode of Ghost Adventures where they actually deployed LiDAR technology. Ghost stuff. Ghost Adventures, where they deployed the LiDAR technology inside of a house, which was fascinating to me because, you know, for years I still am a avid metal detectorist, and LiDAR technology is something that is pretty handy when it comes to as far as like scanning land mass. You can see where like sidewalks used to be that have maybe been grown over. The LiDAR is really good at picking up like buried like foundations, like a house burnt down and they buried it all in with dirt. You could pick up where the foundation used to be, and to deploy that inside of that what the hell was that house? Some house out in California, much like all the episodes anymore. Out in California.
Like maybe like the Winchester House type deal?
It was a house that was down across the street from the house on Haunted Hill from the 1957 film with Vincent Price. Where's he at? Oh, he's right here.
I've seen the film, but I haven't seen. I don't know what.
With this guy?
Right, with that guy.
There's a skeleton in the basement, darling. Please don't get.
Hey, I like that film. I like the black and white stuff.
I'm gonna have a party at this house on Haunted Hill.
Now the reversion of that is pretty nasty, but
yeah, that's the one with Chris Kattan.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that just kind of reading
Quite
here.
a dapper lad. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Subjective data. Yeah, you're always gonna see that. I know quite a few people that don't enjoy doing residential investigations because when they don't find anything, or when, you know, you hear something different compared to the homeowner, you know, the homeowner's stuck in this world of the power of persuasion. Like, it says it wants to kill me. Don't you believe it? No, I'm afraid it does not say it wants to kill you.
Right.
You know, and that's where all that subjective data comes from. And you kind of turn people off on doing residential investigations. Torrey Smith Westhoff.
and Kim was saying is that they always have theirs on a tripod. My historian had his with a laptop on his knees and trying to do it at the same time, and it kind of bounces all over the place. So
what's a historian doing with an SLS?
Because he likes it. He actually, it's kind of funny. He actually has, since I brought him on my team, His name is Scott Bowser, and he has bought on so much equipment that it's like, holy crap, dude, slow down. I can't catch up to you. You know,
Take it easy, money bag, so you could at least pay for dinner.
but the thing is that he finds that stuff fascinating and he goes with it. And I'm glad that he's trying to work with it and learn with it.
yeah,
So more power to him that if he wants to try the new age stuff and how it goes instead of doing the old age stuff is what I like to use or go outside the box, so to speak. And then that way we can switch things, you know. But
she must have been talking about Vincent Price.
yeah,
There's a skeleton in the basement, darling. My opinion, finding nothing in a residential investigation and being able to disprove a haunting is the best case scenario. I wouldn't want a family to be terrified in their space. Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
That is exactly what you're going in there for.
right. I haven't done residentials yet.
Oh boy, you're.
I see. My friend Tim Malley. Do you know Tim Miley? Do you know Tim Miley?
I think I've seen him around the social spaces.
Right. So he lives actually across a bridge from me, and I asked him, I says, because that's all he really does is residentials. I'm like, hey, you think I could pop on in one of your residentials and just kind of learn? And he's like, well, I don't really like let people do that. I mean, if you do that, do it with a team because it's more of a confidentiality thing. And I said, I get that. You know, I'm just looking for advice to if something comes up, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's just one of those things. Hey, Lori.
I get worked up from time to time.
Oh yeah. You'll find that out fast on February 11th.
Yeah. Tim is a great guy. He's done over 300 residences.
Yeah. He's been in it for about 15 years, I say. So.
Yeah,
But,
we started out doing residential cases, and it just after a while it's kind of like I don't know, you get so tired of like trying to convince people that there's nothing wrong with their house and they need to visit like a radon specialist or have their air conditioner looked at, and they just no, it wants us dead. I'm telling you. And it's like
yeah, I mean it's just one of those things. It just
the paranormal help desk. What's that? Is it like
711 maybe?
Yeah. You got 411, call before you dig. 911, call before you dig. 711,
611 for your cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just interesting stuff. So the paranormal help desk, yeah.
Looks interesting. But I mean, it'd be like it sounds like it's probably. I'm assuming that it's kind of like the Craigslist of the paranormal, where you can help. My house is haunted by a wraith. Ain't kidding you.
Double check that before you let them in your house.
Yeah.
So, what was your very first paranormal experience and investigation before Ghost Guard came about and all that stuff?
My very first paranormal experience happened when I was a young guy. I've said this on many shows before. We grew up in a haunted former nursing home that at the time, the guy my mom was dating, he was in the process of rehabbing this building into apartments, which fast forward to today, it currently is apartment buildings. All right. And so while he was rehabbing the place, we actually stayed there. He built like in a little apartment for us, my mom, my sister, him, and his son to live in. And, being a 10-year-old boy with a mansion that has, 60 something rooms in it, I had awesome sleepovers, man. Let me tell you. But one night we went spelunking down the old laundry chute. It was a riot. The one kid broke loose and slid like 2 floors down. It was great. So
I know I'm late. I apologize.
That's
Right
right.
on time.
I'm not going to make anybody repeat anything, but I might ask questions that were already
Oh,
answered.
I just asked like the only two questions so far is who is Nick Simons and what was his first paranormal investigation and experience. That's as far as we got. So
And this was this big, huge mansion you were at?
yeah,
Yeah. It was our house at the time when I was growing up, and probably my first experience that I had in there was, I woke up one night and I felt compelled to go look out the window, and I went and looked out the window, and down in the backyard by the gate to get into the backyard, there was a dude looking up at me, and I'm looking down at him, and he had on a hat, kind of like the Hat Man style hat, but this was
Oh,
in
wow.
1996, so the Hat Man wasn't a big popular thing back then, and I was looking down at him, and he was looking up at me, and his eyes just flashed red real quick, boom, and then he just kind of blew away like a pile of leaves. Like the top of them just started to disintegrate, and then it
That's
went
weird.
all the way down. Yeah, it was creepy.
Wow.
yeah.
I've never heard anything ever described like that.
The top hat man really, brings what's the significance about that? Is it more of like death is coming type deal?
Well, obviously not. He's sitting here.
Ha ha! I beat him. No.
But I think that's what the gist of it I think is behind a little bit. Because my daughter's actually seen the top hat man outside her door
Oh man,
long time ago when she was really young, but that he just stared and then he just went away.
If death is coming, then you better take a couple Flintstone vitamins there, Darren.
Well, yeah, right.
You don't want to die.
Well, if I get my doppelganger, maybe have better eyes,
They doppelgang the wrong guy this time. Ha ha! How you like them eyes, stupid?
I don't know. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion, but I don't. Tori says I've always heard it to be associated with demonic hauntings, but I don't think so. I think it's just a different. There's different things we see all the time.
Yeah.
What you see, we could be watching and looking at the same exact thing, and I'm seeing, this white flowy thing, and you can say, well, no, to me it looks like whatever. I think it's
A
on
black
how we
mass.
yeah. I don't think that dark shadows or anything like that, dark figures, anything necessarily represent anything negative. I mean, if we believe that, they have different energy levels and they can only put out what they have, maybe that's all they can put out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she saw hers during sleep paralysis, so she
That's
saw
fun.
it through sleep paralysis.
If you never had sleep paralysis, highly recommend it. It is.
Nope, never.
It's a trip.
I did see a dark. Actually, I can't even say it was a shadow because I couldn't see through it. It was so black, and it was shaped like if you saw American Horror Story, the first season, with the guy that was in the black suit.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, and except he had a yellow glow around him, and I did not hear anything else. Like it was almost like my hearing went the whole time I saw him. Like I couldn't hear anything. The dog was walking towards me. I couldn't hear the footsteps of the dog. I couldn't even hear the person standing next to me. And when it disappeared was when my hearing came back.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's common though, with sleep paralysis and shadow people. I mean, Mike Ricksecker, you know who Mike Ricksecker is, right?
Yeah, I've had some good conversations with him.
Yeah, I mean he's got that in his book and talking about sleep paralysis and shadow people, and it's interesting, but a lot of people want to keep that separate, as sleep paralysis is more nothing to do with the paranormal. But it's like, well, if you're seeing shadow people with it's got to be part of the paranormal.
I'm gonna go against the grain on that one and say it's completely part of the paranormal because the only time I've ever really experienced it was when Aaron and I were doing a lot of YouTube videos, like going out 3 times a week and doing different investigations, whether it be at parks, commercial buildings, old cemeteries, just trying to create a bunch of YouTube content. And almost like that many investigations back to back to back. We did that for a month straight. It seemed to like thin the veil, and that was the only time I ever really had a problem with sleep paralysis and waking up not being able to move. And then all of a sudden there's a dude in my doorway, which my house was built in 1961. I've never had a problem with it.
Right.
And he like starts coming towards me, and I'm like, oh, freaking out. And then finally, by the time my arm snapped up, like the rest of my body woke up, he was just like gone.
Yeah.
I've never had sleep. I mean, there was one time, but it was a visit dream with my dad, and it was almost like I was pulling I was trying to pull myself out of the dream, even though I didn't want to. So I don't know if I was fighting with myself to not wake up because it was a visit dream with him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if my body was trying to wake up and I was fighting it. I don't know what the case, and I know I saw my dad's silhouette as I was waking up in our doorway. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that would be the only time that I think that I've ever experienced anything where it felt as if I was being pushed back if I was trying to like sit up, Right. I wouldn't say it was necessarily sleep paralysis, but I feel like I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. I just know what I was feeling,
Right.
Right.
I've yet to have sleep paralysis.
Oh, why are you saying it like you want it?
Yeah,
because I want to try it.
Shucks.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, I haven't had.
Hey, I like to play. I like to play the game a little bit.
Sometimes it can be medical. There could be medical reasons for it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
So
it's a lot to deal with stress. I mean, that's what I get out of a lot of it is with stress. If your stress is so heavy, and it just sometimes just comes on,
Yes.
So,
have you ever gone to a place where people try to make up stuff?
Yes, I have. It was actually at Darren's precious Edinburgh Manor.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum.
Wow.
Yeah, take that, Darren.
Hey, it ain't my place. I got the museum.
Stop coming down to Iowa, Darren. No,
wow, hey, it's a fun state.
We first went there, but way back in the 2012. I think at that time they had about as many investigations through there they could count on one hand. And the guy leading the tour is like, yeah. And they get down to the boiler room. And, they have the boiler open and where you can see the heat exchanger tubes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, they used to stuff bodies in there. I'm like, no, they didn't. A hole's like that big. What are you gonna do? Cut the body up, then stuff it in there? Then once it does get in there, where's the parts gonna go? You got a bunch of heat exchanger tubes right inside of there. That's the burner box.
Right. Hey, Bill.
But that's about the extent of my
Hey, Michelle.
What was the question? They tried to make up that. They tried
to. If you've been places where they've tried to make up stuff.
Yeah, that's about the extent of that. And Edinburgh Manor. Love the place to death, but they need to get that damn casket out of the second floor.
Oh, come on. I want to lay in that sucker.
Yeah, well, at least take it downstairs. Who's going to have a funeral upstairs? Come on upstairs to where we have a funeral.
Hey, Denise.
And the only way up there is to lug the body and the casket up the stairs, which grinds my gears. And another thing about Edinburgh Manor.
Now he's going to be on a roll. Let's go.
Yeah. Again, love the place to death, but they're like, and this here down here, I'm probably never going to be able to go back there again. But they're like, and this down here is the padded cell, which sure they might have had a padded cell, but I guarantee you it wouldn't have been in the basement to where they would have had to drag the unruly person through the kitchen, through the cafeteria, then shove them into the padded cell. What if there was a bunch of people in there eating? Now you just created a scene for the rest of the people that are teetering on the edge of putting somebody in a padded cell. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, maybe it was like a warning, like, if you do this, look what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, like making a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got touched down there, like a hand went across my face on a tour when I was with Cat Armstrong and their team just this past year. Was my actual first time being at Edinburgh Manor. It's an awesome place.
Oh,
It was just so,
absolutely.
it was off and on, but when it gets quiet, it gets really quiet, you know?
They're in the other room, but I got these little bitty motion sensors that run off of 4 AA batteries.
Mhm.
And we stuck 4 of them down the hallway in the basement to go from the cafeteria side over to where the Joker is. And one by one night, we were all standing down in the cafeteria just looking down the hallway. And one by one, those things lit up like
I
somebody was
love
walking
when
up.
that happens.
And we were all like, yes.
That happened once with me when I was on a private investigation. We were downstairs in the basement of this home. We had a whole bunch of things set up going down the hall, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. I'm getting chills thinking about it because it is a cool experience. I mean, how do you explain that? You know,
You don't. They're a motion sensing light. They run off of IR, but there's like very, very low powered IR because it's run off 4 AA batteries. Those same lights, we had them at a Masonic temple up in the big room, their big, like, super duper room. And they got chairs at that would be the west side of the room. That's where all the head honchos sit. And we put 3 of them in their chairs because there's a chair for the big guy. Then there's 2 little guys on each side of him. So we put one in the big guy's chair and one in the little guy's chair and one in the other little guy's chair. And the center one lit up, the left one lit up, and then the right one lit up. And we're like, how do you explain that? They've been off for an hour. Right. And all of a sudden they just lit up like somebody came in and sat down. It's crazy. I love those things.
Yeah.
So, have we talked about 28 days yet?
Not yet. We're getting there. I'm doing a slow build.
Warm. You got to build me up to break me down. Man, your show was stupid.
I'm warming the bed a little bit here.
You're wetting the bed a little bit.
Warming the bed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How did you know that Aaron would be such a good fit for you with your investigating style? When did you know he was the right person for that?
Wait, are you talking about the 28 Days Haunted now?
No, just Aaron, his partner, Aaron G. Thompson.
Aaron G. Thompson. I didn't know. Aaron was actually the first guy that I started with. I had, up until going out with him and doing residential investigations, I had never been on a paranormal investigation before. I mean, we had some silly stuff that we did in high school, but all high school kids do stupid stuff. Go out to a haunted house or abandoned house and break in and scare the hell out of each other. So sometime in 2009, Aaron worked with my wife at the time. Well, she's still my wife, but at the time they worked together. Wait a minute. That sounds bad. She might kill you.
You didn't hear that.
So he's running around work one day. I'm Aaron G. Thompson. I'm going to start a ghost group, this and that. And she was like, why don't you take Nick? He's as big as a door. I'm 6'7", 300 pounds. So next thing you know, I'm filling out a little bitty background check for ghost crier investigations. I still have it in my email. I need to post that online so people can look at it. It's pretty cool. But ever since then, we started doing residential investigations, and fast forward, here we are. Started at the bottom, went all the way up to TV, and that's our happy ending, you could say. Our Cinderella Story Investigations. That's going to be the name of our new team, Cinderella Story Investigations.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys still do stuff for like under Ghost Crier at all? I mean, as far as like, because I know you did a network with Nick Groff. They had a network, and you had Ghost Crier in there.
Yep, we had Ghost Crier on VidiSpace. I was just talking about that the other day. VidiSpace, they used to have this thing called the haunted.space, and it was like live investigations. So we did that for a little bit. Excuse me. Then we kind of took a break, and I went and there's another documentary filmmaker that lives here in town. His name's Zeke Sethwell. We did afterlife sessions. It's more of a serious side of me, investigations. So you see us go to Crown Point Jail in Crown Point, Indiana, the Rock Island YMCA right over here in Moline. Then we do Ashmore Estates, which Ashmore is worth every single penny.
That's on my bucket list.
I just seen on that Destination Fear.
Numero
I
uno.
don't watch Destination Fear, so I don't know. I don't know.
It's a take that what they did on. I mean, it's pure entertainment, but it's interesting on some of the things that they caught.
Yeah. And, the things that we caught at Ashmore Estates, I had never experienced before or after. I mean, we're standing on the third floor, and Zeke and I are talking, and then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, like right next to us in the darkness, this little, like, it sounded like a 4-year-old girl.
Mhm.
She goes, "I can't see." It was a disembodied voice. We heard it with our own ears, and we were like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
Did you hear that?"
I love that.
We
Yeah.
have parental
And then did you
advisory
get it
because
on
you can say what
record?
you want.
Huh?
Did you get it on the on record? Awesome.
Mhm. It's on the YouTube video. Afterlife Sessions on YouTube. Ashmore Estates. That is my number one
Oh, I'm
investigation.
gonna go, and when we're done, I'm gonna go watch it because I want
Yeah.
to see that. I love that. That's my favorite thing. EVPs, this because I can hear. So anytime you hear something and then you get that on record, you get the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like validation that you're not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, the things I save when I do use the SB7, which is a lot. I mean, we're saving full sentences that is compelling related to the questions that we ask. We're not saving, Kellogg's cereal. Check it out. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
because you do see a lot of people asking a question: Who lived here back in the day? Jurassic Park was a film released in 1993. Mark it. We're keeping that one. People save the craziest crap, and it's like, why are you presenting that? Post answers to your questions, compelling answers to your questions. They're out there. I get them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were investigating a area, and I still have this file on my computer. Maybe I could send it to you guys afterwards. But it was I'm not gonna go into names, but it was a place where they had sleepovers for teenage girls, and the leader of the sleepovers was there, and she goes, "How do you feel about the girls having sleepovers in here?" And the SB7 lights up after about a couple seconds, and it says, "I touch them."
Ew.
Ugh. Yeah. And it's just the voice, the cadence of that guy's voice. He's like, "I touched them," and it's just like,
Ew.
"Oh, that guy's got a mustache."
And he's got a pedophile. He's got to have a
Well,
pedophile.
Yeah. It's just fascinating the things that come through there that gets missed.
But see,
Because
something
now,
like that's good because now you could then say go back to the person that runs it and say when you have girls come in or make sure you say do not touch these girls, like set boundaries. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure they don't want to be touched.
after we caught that and showed it to them, that was it. There was no more sleepovers there. They actually, us investigating was the last investigation in there because they were selling off the buildings. So,
hey, B, how you doing?
John Covey, hi babe. He says
Hey,
good
John.
evening. Check out Nick and Jeremy Leonard on their new podcast, Paranormal Gumbo.
I wasn't going to say anything, John, but since you brought it up, yeah.
Well, we could get into that before we get into the 28 Days On. Let's talk about that.
Jump into it real quick.
Yeah.
Paranormal Gumbo is a big mixing pot of all things paranormal.
Like Paranormal Brew.
Yeah, but Jeremy, Paranormal Brew. But I told Jeremy, I'm like, look, there's already a show out there called that. And he's like, yeah, but I'm from Louisiana and it's gumbo. So gumbo's not a soup. I'm like, all right. So, yeah, we just cover all things.
No, I like the name. I do like the name because
he is Cajun. So, it's not like
Cajun's good stuff.
Paranormal Brew came about because I was like, we were either drinking coffee or drinking beer when we have the best paranormal conversations where we're just like hanging out, chilling.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever,
And so that's pretty much the layout of the show is just him and I being two country boys because, we went out to Los Angeles last year. Yeah, it's last year now. Wow. Time flies. So we got flown out to Los Angeles last year for 28 days to do some additional recaps and stuff like that, additional interview stuff. So every time you see me on the show and I'm talking and it's all like nice and stuff, that stuff. And I actually got to meet everybody else that was on the show, and I met Jeremy and we got to talking, and one thing led to another, and he's like, let's start a podcast. So I'm like, hell yeah, brother. And it turned into.
I know Jeremy through Bill Freeman, who passed last year, but I was really good friends with Bill Freeman, and Bill Freeman was very close with Jeremy. So Jeremy will come to Selma Mansion and come to some of the stuff out here. So
yeah, he's a cool dude.
yeah,
and if you haven't seen him in a while, you're not going to recognize him. The kid lost like 50 pounds after getting his surgery done.
He had a heart attack on that show, didn't he?
He had a heart attack on the show. Then 3 weeks after getting home, he had a massive heart attack. Sent him to the hospital, and he had to get 6 stents put in his heart. And thankfully, he's okay now. He went and had one of those stomach surgeries done, and now he's just half the man that he used to be.
Wow. I'm surprised they did it with all the heart stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's...
Tammy said, please don't make his head swell.
There's the boss right there.
Hi, Tammy.
How you doing? So let's cut into the 28 Days Haunted. So how did it all come about, and having them come asking you guys to come to the show? Was it something you had to fill out, or say, hey, I want to be part of that, or is it just came out to Iowa and say, hey, we want you guys on the show?
It was luck. So Aaron got contacted by somebody that was going to be on the show, and due to the situation, they couldn't be on the show, and we ended up having Sean. And so they contacted Aaron, and they said, hey, Aaron, you need a third guy. And Aaron's like, I know, just the guy, or however he talks. And so he called me. He's like, hey, man, these producers want to talk to us about doing a show. And, being on YouTube, you get producers calling you, wanting to interview you for shows like 3 or 4 or 5 times a year. So I figured it was just another interview that wasn't just going to go nowhere. So I went and did the interview, and they're like, "Oh, take your hat off, this and that." And you guys aren't separate. You guys are sitting together. Yeah, we live in the same town. And I don't know. Hi, bearded man. They're talking about you, Darren.
I think this is Darren. Because I'm always Cupcake. So
quit talking about yourself, Darren.
I know. I'm sorry. I hate that when it happens.
A little bit must think you're cute.
Oh, Darren, you just want me. So where the hell was I?
Sorry.
Apologies. So yeah, I did the interview. Didn't think anything of it. I'm like, well, that was fun. We'll never talk to them ever again. And 3 months down the line, I'm on vacation in northern Iowa, and we're catfishing on the Mississippi River. And Aaron calls up and says, hey, those guys want to talk to us again. And it's like, what? Are you serious?
Now, when you say those guys, did this have anything to do because I think, wasn't it Tony Spera that?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Didn't even know we were leaving.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was actually the production company that was those guys and girls. And and I'm like, what the hell could they want? Did they lose their video footage or whatever? We got to do it all again. So rush home, jump on the computer for another Zoom call, and they're like, congratulations, you guys are in. And we're like, what?
So, okay. How did they pick the locate? Did they give you 3 locations? Say you guys decide where you're going?
Nope.
Or they said you are going here?
So at that
blinders.
At that time, they said, congratulations, you guys are in. You guys will be going to 1 of 3 locations. Oh, groovy. Where are they at? We ain't going to tell you. And then they got a hold of us in late June and said, get ready sometime in July. All right, so you have everything ready. And then a week before our flights took off, they're like, here's your plane tickets. You're going to Connecticut. Congratulations. Man. Connecticut. Where could we be going in Connecticut? Have you ever Googled haunted Connecticut?
It's
like 80,000 results.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so my thing is because I watched it. I did watch 28 Days Haunted, and I do think the concept is interesting. Being in the same location for a long period of time, does the activity increase because you're there? It knows you. It knows what you guys are doing. As well as you are spending more time. The more you do it, it opens up those muscles. It opens up whatever. But can I ask you something personal?
Briefs.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
No.
job wise, like what do you do? Like, I mean, because it had to be longer than 28 days. I mean, you guys were flying. Was it like, what do you tell your job? Like, hey, can I have off for 30 days?
Yeah, so I took 31 days off work.
Oh my God. And they like, my job will be like, good luck with that.
I've been at the same place for 13 years and I'm
Oh.
salary. So they're like, hurry up.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely missed me. And, you know, there was a lot of things that got messed up, but it wasn't like too bad messed up. But when I came back, I like sat at my computer. And I'm like, what's my password?
But it's, I mean, I think it's awesome that they honestly allowed you to do it. I mean, they could have turned around and said, yeah, you can go, but you don't got a job when you get back.
Yeah, you go, but you can't come back here.
Yeah.
I actually still have my vacation form that I filled out that had, you know, let's see, we took off on 7/19, so 7/19 through 8/15. It's just long time.
Yeah.
Then to add insult to injury, so we got done on a Saturday. Sunday, our flights got screwed up out of whatever was at Hartford. So they're like, the next available flight to Chicago is on Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening. So I rented a car Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and Aaron and I drove from Hartford, Connecticut, all the way back to Davenport, Iowa, and made it in one trip without stopping. We're sleeping or anything, just straight through 17 hours.
Holy
Yeah.
A lot of Monster on that and Red Bull.
Got home. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, slept, got up, took the rental car back, came home, got in the truck and went to work and was at work by 8:15.
I would have had to take a day off in between.
Yeah, it was tough. Let me tell you.
I bet.
Yeah. So they would give me like leave of absence is what I would have to fill out if I did something like that.
Yeah.
And then also, family.
Yep. That had been rough.
Having to turn around and say, I mean, like we all have supporting significant others, I'm assuming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just assuming. But like, that's a lot of time to be away.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, is I got the wife and 4 cats. Aaron has a 4-year-old daughter. You know, Sean, he talked about his dad a lot. His dad was an older guy. And, he was always worried about his dad. And people just watched the show. And even though they laid all that out, like not our family, they kept that private, but they painted that picture very well. These guys have no phone, no internet, no way to contact home. Plus they have their family. So you're going in there, you have that weighing on your mind already, plus the investigation on top of it, plus the 2 other guys,
And plus you're in this, your only other like person or people are those people that you're in that house with for 30 days. I mean, we all saw remember MTV had Real World or whatever, like they put people in a house and
yeah, it was that Fear show.
Real World, yeah.
Remember? And like everybody was all happy at first, and then everybody's I mean, I'm sure there had to be, and I'm sure everybody's fine now, but I mean, like
at some point there was a shit show going on.
Yeah, that was episode 3, aka Fight Club. But yeah, that tension builds up over a while, and I think that was the epicenter of the whole investigation that they wanted, is just to see how, I don't think epicenter would be the word for that, but I think that's what they wanted to see how people would break down over time. And and between Jeremy is missing, he's working on an accident right now. We had a hurricane while Jeremy was filming. Yeah, you guys did, because I remember getting home and they were talking about, because after they shot Connecticut, when they were packing things up, they were talking about North Carolina, and they're like, there's nowhere for anything in North Carolina. And I caught that, and I was like, oh man, they're going to North Carolina next. Then we get home and I'm watching the news and they're like, there's a hurricane moving up the coastline. And I'm like, oh man, they're in North Carolina right now too. But Jeremy said it wasn't too bad.
They actually had to build a bathroom where Jeremy and what's her name now? Brandy. Yeah, they had to build a bathroom in that location.
They had to build a bathroom, and they had one of those like little camping hot water heaters that had about 10 minutes of hot water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, I got to skip this one out, guys.
that was one thing that, when they did those private interviews, they'd always be like, "So, do you want to go home yet?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "What would make you go home?" I'm like, "I don't know, zombies."
Right? Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, "Be real." I'm like, "Dude, you hired nothing but paranormal investigators to do a paranormal investigation. I don't think any of us are going to be going home because there's ghosts in
Right.
here."
What would make you go home? Roaches. I'd be out. Out.
Zombies, gang violence. I don't know.
Roaches, cockroaches. I would leave in 3 seconds.
Maybe if the house burnt down, but I guess I'll go home now. There's nothing here.
Yeah. There's
So-
nothing
So how would you feel if, okay, so doing a show again, but like if it was just you and a couple amateurs to go at it in the show, how do you think that kind of would show up? Would it be different? It would be hard to do that show if it's just two amateurs and yourself?
I've been telling people for the longest time that if they do a season 2, they need to pick like way worse buildings, like get you an old, like, okay, just down the road from Captain Grant's and around the corner is what the hell is that asylum? Norwich State Hospital. And like all the buildings don't have windows in them, and it's just wide open to nature and stuff. They need to put people in buildings like that for 28 days. Really drive people up a wall from getting bit by mosquitoes and having birds and shit fly in. And plus,
that's like combining Chernobyl and what was that? Naked and Afraid. That's like combining those.
I don't watch that one.
Yeah. There's still a haunting to be investigated there. You have no electricity. I mean, maybe wheel a couple campers out there and run some electrical out to them, but like that's your building for 28 days is this dilapidated, overgrown former asylum building. Really jazz it up, because at the end of the day, you can't have a scary movie filmed in a bright room like this.
Right.
I mean, Captain Grant's was a good location, but at the end of the day, it's a yellow building.
Yeah.
Right.
I would do it in Gettysburg.
Gettysburg would be cool.
I like it, if possible, to do it in the Amityville house.
I don't want to.
Snooze fest.
Snooze fest, yeah.
Snooze fest, instant snooze fest, Amityville, Conjuring House, and Sally House.
Naked in the Paranormal. I'm in.
Oh boy.
Now there's a guy, what's his name? Scott Greenwald. He does that naked paranormal stuff. He did it like years back, but like he did have a.
That's crazy.
I remember seeing the picture on like Twitter or something, and it was like him and another dude just butt ass naked. Just there's nothing here.
Wow, I can't even like.
That's an HBO Max deal.
A Cinemax, not HBO.
Cinemax Plus.
Cinemax, yeah, Cinemax.
Cinemax plus.
Fans only.
Yeah.
Or OnlyFans, whatever it's called.
Yeah, there you go. He could reboot it and put it on there.
Yeah. Do we have any questions in the chat before you?
No, everybody's just basically just commenting.
Riffing.
So while you're away, you can't communicate with family. That's got to suck. You couldn't even have phones.
No phones. We didn't even know the name of the town we were in until the very last day, when they're like, "That's it. Good job, boys. Let's go home." And then they shoot the shot of us putting our suitcases in the Suburban, which we had to shoot that like 9 times. All right, take it back up to the house. Let's do it again. I'm like drenched. Put the suitcases in the Suburban.
I'm like, hi, am I getting paid extra for this? Because this is a lot of work. No. So
finally get done doing all that, hop in the Suburban, pull out on the main street, and it's like Preston, Connecticut. Oh, that's the name of the town we're in. Wow.
Where was like the crew? Were they staying there with you? The people filming?
There was only really one camera guy.
Oh.
And he did the drone work and had the big over-the-shoulder camera, but as far as like the actual investigations, it was these robotic cameras that were inside the house. And the first time you see Captain Grant's on the show, there's a drone footage of the drone flying up on the house. If you look off in the top left corner, of the shot, you can see their little trailer that they had on the side of the house. So like production would sit in there, the producers would sit in there, and they'd show up every day. We'd be standing outside vaping and whatnot, having a cup of coffee. I'm done. And they just look straight at the ground and walk. Like they weren't allowed to talk to us at all. And it was like,
Why?
because they wanted that isolation experience.
Yeah, I suppose.
The producers would come in and like direct us, but other than that, that was it. There was just directing, and there wasn't no, how'd you sleep last night? Was it pretty cozy in here? Like they're like, hey, we'd be like, Aaron's air conditioner broke in his room and it's like 90 in there and he's trying to sleep. And they're like, oh, anyway.
Michelle is asking, were you able to stay real during the filming of the show? I guess meaning, were you scripted is what I'm guessing. Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what she means.
Oh, yeah. I was real. Even my wife, she said that she saw some of the reviews that were like, oh, these guys are the worst actors ever. And she's like, yeah, you're definitely not acting. I mean, you're talking to the guy that's got a tattoo of a cow chewing on a piece of grass. I'm not an actor.
Yeah, that would be hard for me because I'm not an actor either. So I wouldn't be able to be. I remember, like, I don't know, 2012, Travel Channel came out. I was with a group, South Jersey Ghost Research. The director owned Ghost Hunter Store. They came out they were going to do a show about the Ghost Hunter Store. They picked 10 of us. I was one.
Woo!
And
I bought some stuff from them.
And my ex at the time, well, no, he was my boyfriend at the time, now my ex. But they like literally, the questions they were asking when they were filming, I would answer the questions, and then they're like, you got to be a little bit more excited. And I'm like, how do I get more excited about that? Like, it's not something you're excited. Like, the answer to the question wasn't like, oh, it's just an answer. And I watch these shows, right? And when they're interviewing people as yourself or whoever, nobody's accentuating their, they're not being exaggerated and stuff. So I was so confused about that part. But then they also said, they were like, okay, we're going to have you pretend to cheat on your boyfriend with somebody else in here. So, and I'm like, oh, make me the whore. Okay, everybody's going to hate me. That's great. Nope, I'm out. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I couldn't read cue cards, so.
Well, I mean, like, I can't do it. I mean, we did that several times. They came out and they filmed and they asked questions and they like wanted and it's just like, it wounds up never going anywhere, but I'm not going to go on and be fake like that. I get that, sometimes, things got to be entertaining. I understand. Yeah. I get it. I understand that part of it, but to like totally lie about, and I'm not saying that's what, I'm just saying this was in 2012. So I don't know, what has taken place in the filming world since, but it's just, that totally turned me off of anything like that.
Everything that I said on the show that made it to the final cut come right from my heart. There was no script. Yeah. There was no Nick say this. At times I would say things and they would be like, that was awesome, but make it sound more like Nick.
Yeah.
Because we see you when you're talking with the guys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy goes somewhere when you come up here to the interview room. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm
not sure like they edited too. You know what I mean? So like, I'm sure not everything was included and you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Well, he did make Aaron cry.
Allegedly. Yeah. The edit, like Alexa is going off. Alexa, shut up.
She's been doing that to me. All of a sudden you hear, okay, and then the lights go on. I'm like, Alexa, who are you talking to? I'm sorry, I don't know that. I'm like, well, who are you saying okay to? And then turning my lights on.
Yeah. So where the hell was that going? Oh, yeah, the edit. So if we were to shoot the whole show with that one camera that you saw us wearing, the backpack camera, that footage alone would be 2,085 hours. You take that camera times the other 16 cameras that were mounted on the wall that could be controlled robotically. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a lot of footage from just one location there. And there is so much work that went into that show to take all that footage from all 3 locations and carve it down into a 3-hour long show.
So crazy.
Yeah. But let's back up a little bit because might as well beat him up. Aaron G. Thompson. You asked me if I was acting. No, but there was plenty of times they were like, all right, Aaron, say that again, but without acting this time. One particular story that stands out, one night we were out in the cemetery that's behind the house. So they really don't highlight it a whole lot in the show, but in the backyard of this place, there was a whole cemetery from the 1600s back there. We were talking like stones that the sandstone, the carvings, the etchings in the sandstone has just completely weathered off. And so Aaron's standing in between these 2 trees. It's like 11 o'clock, 12 at night. And Sean and I actually heard something towards the entrance. So we go booking it up towards the entrance. And Aaron, you guys ever watch Supernatural?
Nope.
Where Dean's like, Sammy! Aaron's like, guys, wait. And I turn around. He's like, hold the flashlight. I don't want to be down here alone. I mean, the camera guy, me, Sean, we're all laughing. We're like, stop. Like he was flexing and everything. He's like, don't leave me down here, brothers. It was awesome.
Oh.
I'm sad they cut that.
Oh, see, but do you guys get that stuff though? Do you guys get to see the things that they cut out and like get to see like bloopers or anything that would like, you know what I mean? Like, do they give you a copy of what has been filmed or no?
All right, so pretend this can of RC Cola is the show itself.
Yeah.
Shit, I haven't seen one of those cans in like 10 years.
If you're looking at this as what part we play on the show, we'd probably be the 12 and 12 fluid ounces.
Gotcha.
We're just a little speck compared to the show as a whole. I mean, we'd get emails every once in a while, you know, the show's looking good. We should be coming out here pretty soon. Like when the trailer dropped in September, we were all like, the trailer's out, everybody. Like, we had no idea the trailer was dropping.
So at any point in time, did you see the other groups?
Nope. Didn't even know who was all on the show until July of last year when we flew out to Los Angeles. That's when Jeremy Leonard says, he brings it up all the time, you were starstruck. I'm like, stop. That's because I had Discovery Plus for about a week and we just finished watching Ghosts of Morgan City. That's how he says it. And all of a sudden, here you come waddling out of the door frame at the hotel, and I'm like, "Oh man, it's Jeremy Leonard!" Like I said it just like that, stood up, pointed, and everything. And he's like, "You had stars in your eyes."
So, what did you guys do for fun off camera when things weren't going on?
Were the cameras ever off?
No.
I didn't think so.
They're always on. They watch us sleep. There's a couple
that's creepy.
There's a couple mornings that, you know, I woke up naturally. You know how guys wake up from time to time.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, the girl that's watching the footage out in the trailer right now, because the night shift was always like a guy and a girl. I'm like, I bet she's recording this for personal home use without the express written consent of the NFL. But yeah, the cameras were on all the time. So we get up in the morning, go downstairs and start making coffee, and the walkie-talkie station was right there in the kitchen, and one of them would be on, and you'd hear somebody out in the trailer going, put your microphone on. I'm like screaming into the house, the other 2 guys aren't up yet. Why do I got to put my microphone on?
Like, I would have been like, oh my God, are you communicating with me already? Let me get my recorder. What is happening?
But yeah, Darren, there really wasn't no downtime, because like you'd wake up, have coffee, stand outside, stretch for a little bit, review the last night's work. So we had a big Mac computer that we would review the handycam footage, and then we had to review the audio, and that would take us through lunch all the way up until the time interview starts. So you'd have to go outside and be quiet while they were doing the interview, and they'd just have a rotation of the three of us interviewing us every day from like 1 to like 4.
Oh, Jesus.
And then 4 to 5, you have a little bit of downtime to shoot some extra bits, like us sitting around the table talking to each other. And then 5 to like 7 was like dinner. So we grilled out every single night.
That's the way to do it.
We are never ever having a house with 3 guys in it ever again.
You guys were allowed to like drink beer?
Nope.
You guys weren't allowed to drink beer, nothing like that. Like,
nope.
Oh, I would have been like, look, I need a glass of wine or something.
Nope. That was part of the agreement.
That was a hard no.
Yeah. No booze. Oh.
Wow.
So yeah.
Did you know them in the trailer? They were probably drinking it up.
Yeah. Woo!
Like, look at these motherfuckers.
Listening to Surfing Bird by the Trashmen on repeat.
It kind of sounds like a hamster type of an experiment, you know, where they put the hamsters in the maze to get the, you know what I mean? As they're like watching, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Amy says, was it catered?
Yeah, it was catered by we would make a grocery list of the things that we needed, and the PAs would run out and get it and then bring it back.
Oh, look. Hello.
There he is.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, how you doing, Jeremy?
That's Jeremy Chaos, the bookmark, Leonard. And if you're wondering what those 2 names in the middle stand for, listen to Paranormal Gumbo, where you get your podcasts.
Absolutely.
I'll have to find it. Is it on Spreaker or is it on Spotify?
It's on Spotify.
Spotify. I have a Spotify.
Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon.
So it's a true podcast, right? It's not a vodcast. It's a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast. It's a pre-recorded podcast. None of the live stuff. I go through and I edit out all the ums, and the swear words. The big portions of dead air, the coughing, the hacking, Jeremy's chair squeaking because he likes to lean back when he talks. And he leans back and it goes, eh. But that's only when he's at the fire station. His chair at the house is pretty silent. Ain't that right, Jeremy Leonard?
So if you guys were given another, let's say, season to do this, what is one of your locations that you hope that you would get to go to? Or would want to be in for 28 days?
Don't talk about Haunted Fight Club.
Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, it's a good location. If you got that shot, if the scenery's right, you'll have a scary paranormal show come out of that. I mean, to me, it won't be scary.
What do we think they would do? They would pick.
But is there an asylum or manor that you talked about before that you really wanted to go to? I think it was on Ashley Storm's show that you mentioned that.
You should go to Rolling Hills Asylum.
Yeah, Rolling Hills would probably be a good place to go because I know crap about Rolling Hills Asylum, except that it's like a corner like this, and you come in through the middle. Unfortunately, that's all I know. Jeremy, I promise you I won't do Madison Dry Goods again.
Yeah, Rolling Hills Asylum is amazing. Hinsdale House. Those are my 2 tops. I can't count Gettysburg because I go to Gettysburg at least once a month, and I'm always there, and that's just like my number 1, no matter what. But like aside from Gettysburg, Hinsdale House and Rolling Hills Asylum were just, I had some of the most amazing experiences at both of those places. Like that I can't even to this day even explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hinsdale is cool. I've heard stories from people that like Dan hasn't even left the property and they hear like shit falling and moving around upstairs.
Hinsdale's
and it's like
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed and Bert.
I mean, even outside at Hinsdale, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, even outside you can totally just feel and it wasn't bad. Like there wasn't bad, except for at night, but at nighttime, you're a little bit, you're on guard at nighttime and it's so dark. You're in the middle of nowhere. You know, they said bears come down. There's a crazy lady that lives up here, you know, so it's like you're outside. Luckily we had night vision goggles. We had a FLIR because I felt better being able to see.
You mean a FLIR?
About animals.
Yeah.
And what would happen? What would happen? Only me.
Yeah.
Right?
Same for me. We were investigating down in Arkansas one time when we were outside at night, like walking like a mile worth of walking. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And they're like, oh, don't worry about that. That's probably a big cat. I'm like, a big cat?
A big cat?
I'm from Iowa. The worst thing I have to worry about is mosquitoes. And you say, oh, it's just a big cat. Don't worry about it.
I'm from Jersey. I got to worry about the people. Not. They're like, oh, bears come down here. I'm like, what? You know, I can't. I'll be fine with a deer or something like that. But like whatever I saw looked like a bear. And let me tell you something. I've never been so scared. My butt cheeks clenched. A tear came out of my eye, and I pushed everybody. I did a dude run, and I was like, "That's a bear!" I was in that house in 3 seconds flat. Like I couldn't even catch my breath. Now, they all don't think it was a bear, but I don't care what it was. It was a bear to me.
Should have stopped and did charades with it.
No,
dude.
No.
I got Dude Ron's autograph in the next room, actually.
Do you?
I need to get it framed and hung up.
Dude Ron. Everybody busts my chops now. They're like, you did a Dude Ron. I was like, look, I told you guys. I said, that is a bear. I was like, if you ever run, I'm running with you. I'll ask questions later. You know?
Yeah, you left recorders and everything out there, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. My equipment went flying. I was like, fuck that. I was like, that's a bear. I was like, ah! I was out. I had to push Megan out of the way because she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's right there. And I just took off.
We'll get it in the morning. The hell with it.
Oh, it was out there for like 3 or 4 hours. Like my recorder's going. I can hear coyotes from all over the place talking and yelling and hooting and hollering. I was like, I don't know what is going on outside, but I'm not going back out there.
Yeah. So how do you prepare for locations? Do you study up on them before you guys go, or do you just go with the flow when you get there?
Everything except Captain Grant's and 28 Days Haunted. I study up on it extensively. I like to know who, what, where, when, and why. I pay for newspapers.com premium, and that website is amazing. The things that you can find on there, it is worth every penny. It's newspapers.com. It's related to ancestry.com, so they have tons and tons and tons of information on there.
Newspapers.com. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I don't like to get the the ghost stories from people. I like the actual historical facts.
Bingo. I if I'm going to get told a ghost story, I'd rather get told a ghost story from the property owner. Like when we shot at Ashmore Estates, we had Robin freaking Terry telling us ghost stories of what happens in there. And that is like next to going and talking to a Catholic priest, going and talking to Robin Terry is like,
yeah,
the word of the Lord. I mean, he is a cool guy. If you ever get the chance to talk to him, go ahead. I knew he was my favorite person of all time. When we were doing an event one time, it was me, him, and Aaron, and Elizabeth Saint come walking in, and he looks at her and goes, "Oh my God, it's Chris Williams from Ghost Hunters." I stopped breathing. I was laying on the floor. I was turning blue.
Wow.
That was the funniest thing I've probably ever seen. I mean, it's if not number one, it's hot number two. Oh my God, it's Chris Williams from Ghost Hunters.
Wow.
Cool guy.
That's why I tell the history and then let them decide for themselves. After a few hours, then I tell the stories about the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Bill's got a great place.
What?
I said Bill's got a great place.
Did you see what Jeremy said? I don't know what it means.
Where? Oh, Serpo? That's our tomorrow's episode of Paranormal Gumbo. It's on Planet Serpo. It's this secret alien exchange program where allegedly in 1965 the United States sent 12 astronauts to this planet Serpo that's 40 million light years away, because when the aliens of Roswell crashed here, we kept one of their guys, And so yeah, it was this
Oh,
exchange
we
program.
did a prisoner exchange.
Yeah. We'll just give you guys prisoners as long as we can keep this little guy. And yeah, so that's
Yeah.
tomorrow's episode, and give it a listen.
Yeah. What time's it on?
It'll drop at 8 a.m. Central Time. So by the time you get up in Jersey, it'll be ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
I'll have it on tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So do we have any more questions in chat at all?
No, but I know you can't. I mean, I know you can't really say much about if there's going to be another season. I know you're supposed to be on the hush hush, but I know there was talks of it.
On paper, I have to be hush hush until October of this year, but as of right now, I have heard nothing. So
right. It'd be interesting, and I'd wonder if they would put you guys in all different locations. I mean, I would think they would do that. They wouldn't send you back to the same.
Yeah, there's plenty of haunted locations left out there. I mean,
yes, there is.
Lots of places that we don't know about. Like, how many times has Madison Dry Goods or the Lumber Baron Inn been on TV?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. Like, it'd be cool to see new places. You know,
he hasn't been to the museum yet.
Yeah, I'm going to the museum in February.
Yep.
Make the trek up there. It's just a quick 3.5-hour car ride.
Ain't bad.
But like at the time, when we filmed, Captain Grant's wasn't on TV yet. The Portals to Hell episode didn't come out until December of 21.
Yeah, I never heard of Captain Grant's.
Yeah.
So that was cool, like to see, different locations and stuff like that. And it was just
stories. It's cool.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the dynamic between the groups, the different ways you guys investigated, even though you guys are doing it at the same time. You know what I mean? Hey, did you ever? I don't know how to ask this, but while you guys were investigating, I know you guys couldn't talk, but was there ever afterwards any talk about, like, did you guys all get together and discuss like your experiences and stuff like that? Like maybe you guys had the same things happening at the same time and this and that. Like, did the six of you ever get together? Like, Shane and his group, you.
Oh, no. They, so they filmed us first, then sent us home after the 28 days. They went and filmed Jeremy and Brandy and sent them home after the 28 days. And then they hightailed it out to Colorado and filmed Shane, Ray, and Amy. So there was never a time where any of us could get together and talk. Like the only getting together and talking that we could do would be between myself, Aaron, and Sean.
They should do an episode about that. They should do something like a follow-up and have you guys all on the same show and talk about the experiences that you guys had.
Like a panel.
Yeah. Like a panel, like a show, and talk about, because it's the commonality would be the production and the TV people, right? So they're going from you. How do they know they didn't bring something over here? Or how do they know they didn't bring something? And like you guys might have been experiencing some of the same things, or
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been interesting to have us all investigating at the same time to
that would have been cool.
How we could try to launch messages to each other, hey, can you go to Dink and Doink over there in Connecticut and tell them, this, and then go out to Denver and tell them this. And it would have been cool to have that.
You know what? The show made it seem like you guys were all doing it at the same time. That's why I asked. I didn't know that it was separate. So. Well,
yeah, and then in the control room where they're just going, they pop in over here, then they pop in over there, and then it just
movie magic.
Yeah, I like it.
Ooh, Bill Walter with the Broadhead Manor. I've seen that place, and I would love to visit.
Yes, awesome place. Awesome. Been there many, many times. I'm actually going in June, so.
See, Jeremy right there. I didn't even know who the hell else was on the show until we all met up.
Yeah. No, that's what Nick was saying. I was just saying it would be cool to have you guys all on a panel. You know what I mean? And just talking about your experiences and seeing, if.
That'd be good for a Paracon, too.
Yeah. Michigan Paragon.
Yeah.
I just want to go back because there's nothing better than a Paracon that's in a casino, and I'm a sucker for one-armed bandits. So
Well, Bill is actually having a Paracon at Broadhead Manor in April 22nd. Nick Sarlo is putting it together.
Bill is welcoming you anytime.
Yep.
well,
I told him as soon as you get leave the museum, you should head down to his manor. He's got a place for you to spend the night there.
I got nothing going on the 22nd. If you need somebody to be at your Paracon.
He said, Jeremy said, I agree, because there was so much stuff that they did not show on TV. I mean, we were literally had cameras on us for 28 days, 24 hours a day. So there was so much they didn't even make the show. Yeah. Like that's what I was hoping. Like maybe there would be like a follow-up to it and like have you guys all together and just talk about the things that you guys experienced, what you guys went through, you know. I mean, because it was difficult. It wasn't just you're there having a great time investigating, you know.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of stuff happening, you know, and who knows, maybe you guys experienced some of the same stuff. Maybe the production company brought stuff to the next group and then they brought it to the next group, you know, who knows, you know, just being
just
in those
even
positions.
Slap up some of that additional footage. I mean, there was nights where one guy would do all the investigating the whole night alone inside the house, and the other two guys would just sit outside and kill time.
Wow.
You know, we did solo investigations because after about night 8, you're like, what are we going to do tonight, fellas? Like you've exhausted every paranormal experiment you've ever done in the first 8 days. And it's like, I don't know. Let's start a fire in the house and see what happens. You know?
Sit alone with a cat all by yourself.
Yeah, it was interesting because when I found out about 28 days, it was right after me and the Peaches, we investigated Hinsdale, and we were at Hinsdale Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday night, it was we had a couple things happen, but then Saturday night, it just increased. Everything just increased to where then we were hearing like footsteps in the kitchen. They were rustling with bags. We thought it was one of our girls. We thought it was one of our girls, and she's in bed sleeping.
Yeah.
So as the time was going on, and we kept saying while we were there, we were like, if we had like 2 more nights, you know what I mean? Because we felt that the longer we were there, the more open the spirit activity, you know, they were more comfortable, or whatever you want to call it, you know, whatever was happening. You know, it felt like it was getting increasingly more active as we were there. You know, so I think the concept of that is great.
I mean, for all of us that were on the show, I've pretty much heard everybody give the same response without hearing the others. You know, it was about day 15 for me that, you know, things really kind of ramped up. Like you'd be laying in bed at night and all of a sudden my door handle would start jiggling at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'd sit up, look at the camera and be like, my door handle's jiggling right now. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Footsteps going down the hallway. Like you could tell when it was a mouse because you could hear that little scratchy.
Yeah.
But these were like, coom, coom, coom. I'm like, I saw both Aaron and Sean take a bottle of water or a glass of water with them to their room. What the hell would they be getting up for? And it's like footsteps coming down to like my door. I'm like, they're coming in here. This is going to be fun. It's like, it wasn't Aaron or Sean. It was like some ghost or something.
That's too bad you couldn't use powder to track the footsteps.
Yeah, they would probably.
Who's to say they could even? Who's to say they could even leave footsteps? You know.
Yeah.
That's a theory to try. I mean, it's just a lot of locations won't let you do it though.
Jeremy said, "Yeah, it's kind of like my situation of becoming oppressed. They really did not explain how and why it actually happened, and why I had to confront the entity in order to gain back control."
That's right. We covered that in the first episode of Paranormal Gumbo. Kind of give him the floor because they just kind of like cut the show weird to like, and here's Jeremy Leonard and Brandy. And then all of a sudden the next cut is like Jeremy screaming, "Damn you to hell, demon!" Like with like no context of why he's screaming and yelling or doing any of that. And so the first episode of Paranormal Gumbo, we kind of let Jeremy just go and try to clear that up, to clear his name up, because there's so much more, you know, when it comes to like spiritual warfare and stuff like that. That's not my expertise. I am just a regular old hillbilly that can say yes or no whether your house has a ghost in it or not. Jeremy is on a whole nother level of what he does spiritually as the Cajun demonologist, and it's interesting to hear the full his full description of why he was the way he was on the show.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to me because like I always think like these production people, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but do they really know paranormal? Like, do they really know? Have they investigated? Do they know? You know what I mean? Like, and here they're taking people, putting these people. I'll use Jeremy as an example. I'm not dissing the network. I'm not dissing the show, but I'm saying, you take, people, put them in these locations, not knowing what's there, if they don't know what's there, or maybe they did hear something that was there. But you would think in a situation like that, you would want to warn the person to make sure you protect. I mean, we're supposed to do that regardless, right? We're supposed to be responsible to do that, which I know Jeremy probably does that, doing what he does. I mean, he's not foreign to that. But you have people that don't really do this on a
very seldom. I do,
and it's like they're just. I mean, your lives, quote unquote, are in their hands.
Right. They actually laid that out in the contract. That's like, you could be exposed to the following. And it was like spiders, cobwebs, darkness, mold, and all this. And it was like spiritual. I forget the terminology they used, but it was like spiritual something. And to answer your question about what you said about the production people, without like name dropping what they did, all of our producers that were associated with the show were experienced people. That was one thing that I was proud of, was the people behind the scenes we had a lot of firepower. I know it doesn't, the final edit's kind of weird, but like the actual like people that were there for 28 days with us were seasoned producers that worked on big ghost shows that,
but not investigators, just worked in producing paranormal shows.
Worked in producing paranormal shows. And I mean, like some of the.
Now, did they experience anything being at these locations, even though they weren't in the houses or the places?
They the day they picked us up and blindfolded us, they said, the people setting up the cameras had already experienced stuff in the house. I'm like, come on, you're just saying that. It's like, but after a couple days there, I'm like, oh, maybe they did experience something, because this place is kind of active at certain, hours of the day.
He said, I do protect myself. The problem is my Brandy, the target. That was going to happen, but I thought I would. Now, I will say, because I remember the part where she was sitting on the floor and she said she got this vision in her head. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but I feel like I remember her saying something about it looked like her brains have been shot through and like all over the wall or something like that.
She was on a roll on that show.
And I remember like that when she said that, like my heart dropped into my stomach. I was like, oh my God, like I would be.
She was moving quick. I mean, there, snap, snap, snap. I mean, it was like everything was going right in the ducks in a row with her.
When she said that, for some reason that like really hit something. I don't know why. I just remember thinking like that would be it for me. If I saw myself like with my brains blown out on the wall, like, you know what I mean? Like I'd have been like, okay,
I'm done. I'm going outside.
I'm done. I'm
gonna go stand outside now and try to pet a cat.
Casper. I'm gonna go look for Casper, and I'm gonna call it a day.
Yeah.
But thankfully, she was with Jeremy, and they got through that. But Bill said Darren's protection of himself is a bottle of antibacterial gel. Totally see that.
See, now the thing is okay. We went to Edinburgh Manor, and then the very next day we went to Bill's place. That was the first time we were outside of Bill's school that we decided to do the Palo Santo and all that stuff and do all the equipment before we even stepped foot in his building, because we just didn't want to bring what was from Edinburgh Manor it was attached to us. We wanted to break that away, so we did not bring it to Bill's building. So that was actually the first time that I have ever did something like that type of deal. But I remember when I was at was it Farrar School? Yeah, and I pissed off the principal. And after we were all done with that, I says, when they came out and Cynthia was, out there investigating, I said, Cynthia, I think you better sage me before I leave because I really pissed that fucker off. So
I've done a lot of screaming with that principal over the years. You guys can, I'm like, they can read my sign that's back there. It says, please don't do coke in the bathroom.
Please don't. Doesn't mean you can't. They're just asking you not to.
Yeah, we'd prefer you not to do coke in the bathroom.
But yeah, it's just like, out of respect for
Darren shouldn't do that.
doing that.
Darren you should not do that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like we're just paying respect to before we go into Bill's building because
things can follow you. I've had
they
Susie
can.
from Malvern Manor here at my wonderful abode.
I've been there. It's a great location.
I want to go there. That's another bucket list for me.
There's a kick-ass bar across the street too. So
haven't been there, but I spent an hour and a half up in the attic by myself, and nothing really happened. It was just quiet. But then again, it was early, so we were talking like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Aaron and I took a Ouija board up there one night into the attic, and I can swear on the show, right?
Oh yeah, parental advisor's up there.
We're sitting there asking questions with the Ouija board. This is our first time doing it. We were doing it for Viddy Space, and I swore I shit my pants. I'm like, I gotta go. I stood up and went downstairs, all the way down to the first floor. Got in the bathroom, ripped them off, and there was nothing in it. Like I could feel it and everything, and it was just a phantom shat in my pants.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened to me when I saw that bear or something at Hinsdale, whatever the hell that was. The audio is hilarious. Like the audio is so funny. Like, I mean, but at the time I was crying. For like legit crying. I was like George Costanza when the fire broke out at the nursing home and he's pushing all the old people out of the way. Like, get out of my fucking way.
Boom. Yeah. She shoved a child out of the way.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
little Karen.
I would have ran over a kid. Fuck that. Like there's no way. Save yourself.
I tell you, the first time I've ever ran fast from a spot was when we were at Bill's place and we were down there by the boiler room in that area. Me and William Armstrong were down there, and it's like I brought 2 cigars for just to give whatever because Bill said we could, and so we went down there, laid the cigars on the steps, and we weren't allowed to go down in the basement at all in that part. So about an hour later, I says, "Hey William, let's go back down. I have a feeling one of the cigars is gone." So we went back down there. I knocked on the door first, opened the door, also here. Bang! Something right gets off. I looked at him. He looked at me. All right, see you later. So fast, But that's the only time I really got freaked out on a location, except for
the only time.
The boiler room at Edinburgh Manor. I couldn't do it. I felt something was gonna beat the shit out of me in that boiler room.
It's just Murphy.
Yeah, I've never felt like I said, I've never felt anything. Knock on wood. I always knock on wood because that
was the only time I felt like that.
I've never felt anything like negative or, wanting to harm me or anything like that. Like I felt where I like walked in places where I was like, I don't feel wanted. So I would just leave, but it didn't feel like something was going to, except for the bear at Hinsdale. That's it. That's the only time that like, I was like, I'm out. I could have been like Forrest Gump and kept running if it wasn't nighttime. Like I would have been.
And I started running.
I could have ran right through that house. Like it's so funny. It was so scary.
I felt like when somebody gets up in your face, like you're going to get in a bar fight.
Mm-hmm.
At that place where the spirit touched the girls having a sleepover. I was setting up a camera on a tripod in the middle of this giant room.
Oh, where you were probably a threat to him.
Oh yeah, and it just felt like this guy was in my face, like let's go right now. And I was just like, I gotta get out of here.
When I was at Rolling Hills, I did now see, but I didn't feel threatened by it. I was standing outside one of the rooms, and we were hearing this tinking noise in the room, and there was too much stuff in the room to go in and see. So I was still trying to say, okay, is there something man-made why this is happening? Because there's so much stuff in this room, And we both are looking at each other, me and the other girl, and she's like, "Do you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I hear it." And then it would be like, then it started to sound like it was like doing like making like certain sounds that are familiar, where you do dun 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 dun, and I'm like, okay, wait, that sounded like it was kind of like in unison, like it was making a tune, da, da, da. And in my right here on the side of my cheek, I could feel the breath, but it was like this goofy laugh, like this, like yeah, like they were messing with us. They thought it was funny that we were like, "What is that? You hear that?" Da, da, da. Yep. And right here, I felt the breath, and I hear this, and we both heard it, and I was like, "Okay, all right, that was funny, that was great." I back up, and I'm like, "You give you your space, man," but that's as close as anything's ever gotten to me like that, But it didn't feel threatening. It just felt like,
Yeah.
I'm playing around with you guys,
Yeah. Well, this has been an awesome interview. And I think we'll have to have a part 2, I think. There's just lots more. Yeah, there's lots to go over with other stuff.
What was that from?
Hot
Movie.
Shots Part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I would have thought about that all night. Like, where the fuck is that?
So, like I said, with this being an awesome interview tonight and stuff, what is the message that you want to give the viewers tonight that they want to walk away from today's show and say, hey, this is an awesome person, this is what I've learned from them, and what to expand on for myself when I go out in paranormal investigations?
I'll leave you with this, children. You don't have to go to all these big places that we've been talking about to have a phenomenal experience. You'll be surprised at what's in your own backyard. Some of the best haunts that I've been to. Yeah, I said Ashmore was really cool, but what's number 2 right underneath Ashmore for me is there's a furniture store 6 minutes away from here that used to be a YMCA, and it is an amazing location. And you start digging into the history of these places. If you didn't know or never listened to the village people, you used to be able to stay at the YMCA. The dormitory was on the top floor. My favorite thing to do at that place is go to the top floor where the dormitory is at and just sit and watch the shadows, because these dudes will dart back and forth across the hallway. They'll lean out of their little doors and look at you. And it's cheap to get in there. You don't have to spend the $600, $800, whatever it is to get into these big tourist trap locations. While the tourist trap locations are fun and they're really great and you will have a phenomenal time, check out your own backyard, get some practice. You'd be amazed at what's out there. Newspapers.com, your local library, go to special collections. Your town is a lot scarier than you think.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Jersey, the whole state is. So
yeah, they got devils and stuff, and pork roll.
So it's
pork roll. Thank you. It is pork roll. Thank you.
Let you give your quick plugs of your podcast and the shows that you do, and from there, and then we'll make our special announcement before we go off.
You can find me at Big Nick Simons anywhere you have social media. You can find Paranormal Gumbo on Facebook, and the show is available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google. I got to work on Spreaker. Still, but it's all out there. Take it in, enjoy it, listen to it all you want. Send me and at me on any social media. I'm a pretty friendly guy. I'll usually talk back to you. Usually on the internet, screaming about football, music, ghosts, anything, you name it. Let's chat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. We loved having you.
And
now let's do that part 2.
Yeah. Right. And the special announcement we have, so for those of you that are in around the Iowa, Illinois area, Wisconsin, the Washoe County Historical Museum is having a Valentine's investigation on February 11th, and Mr. Nick Simons is going to be there.
Cool.
So So we'll have
it's not every day you get to investigate the jail that
Yep.
Ed Gein got beat half to death in after they had arrested him. So it's going to be a pretty high priority on my investigation list to get up there and do that.
And not to mention that, with Ed Gein being there, there's also other spirits that are also part of that building as well. So, but yeah, I mean, he's gonna have a great time. 5:00, I think we'll have a Q&A with people who show up, and that way they can ask you questions about anything they want for about an hour, and then from there on, Nick will investigate with you guys.
Really quick.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if you guys are following the Idaho murders.
Oh yeah.
How quickly do you think that that's going to be a place where people are going to say it's haunted and people want to investigate there, because it's the same concept as the Amityville house where there were murders.
But wasn't that in a dorm though? Or is that not? Actually,
no, it's in a separate house.
Was it? Okay. I thought it was in a dorm.
You know what's cool about the Idaho murders?
They never saw it coming.
No, even though it's got all this publicity, nobody's going to be on the internet with a portal box talking to them, because why?
I hope not. Well,
because these people didn't have a YouTube channel, and there's no interviews of these people. All these big deaths, like when Gabby Petito died, she had an entire YouTube channel, and there's all these portal boxes. Oh, I'm talking to Gabby, this and that, and it's like,
it's so horrible when people do that like that right away. I mean, it's just.
I think that something like that would take at least a year or two for something really to stick. But places do have memories with bad things that happen.
But if you're in the location, that's one thing. But if you're not in the location and you're using an SB7 and you're sitting there saying you're talking to Princess Di, or you're talking to
the Queen,
the Queen, it's horse shit. I'm sorry, I don't care. I'll put it out there.
Definitely got to give.
You heard it first.
With the stuff you get. So. But then again, I'll post anything. I don't care if you tear it apart, you tear it apart. It's it's your personal experience that you have. You're just sharing it with other people online. If they don't agree with it, then they don't agree with it. That's the way I look at it.
I don't support it. I don't watch it. I think it's ridiculous. But
yeah,
I'm just saying, like that house now is going to be. It's known. I mean, they're going to try to. Who's going to
look what they did with the Dahmer stuff.
They'll probably just tear that house down, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
probably will.
I mean, nobody's going to want to stay there. Nobody's going to want to. I mean, it'll lay. I said, how quickly is this going to turn into like this house that just sits and sits and sits until somebody is like, let's go investigate it, and then
they get caught, and then they get kicked out, and then
I'm not saying to do it illegally. I'm just saying
urbexing, yeah, like.
But I mean, like, I don't thrive to investigate places like that. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want to investigate the Amityville house. I wouldn't want to investigate that house because
I would all day
out of respect for the victims and their families and stuff. Like, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, even when we investigated Villisca, we weren't like, is this where he came in with an axe?
Right.
We asked silly questions like, would you guys play jacks in this room?
I guess I'm being contradictory because I do like the asylums and stuff. And people, yeah, I am being contradictory, but I mean.
Yeah, but you're not in the asylum going, is this where they electrocuted you for electroshock therapy?
Right. No.
Yeah. You go in and you ask, civil questions, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite dance? Is it the foxtrot? Stuff like that.
Somebody said there are talks already after the trial. See, I feel like when I just don't like it exploited, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, if you're really passionate.
If they see money in it, they're going to exploit it.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth, though.
That's why they burnt down Ed Gein's house.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have probably been more attractive than Amityville.
Well, the land is just as attractive as the house is.
Yeah, if you're attracted to like trees and weeds and shit.
They were all just batshit insane. Yeah. They were all insane. Those are the people that I don't want to run into in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey because they exist.
You ever see that dude?
The hills have eyes.
You ever see that guy that's on
long-term people?
You ever see that guy that's on TikTok every night live from the Pine Barrens?
What?
Yeah, there's some dude. He's out there every single night just running around, and it's just trees and shit flying by. And he's like, I'm out here in the Pine Barrens. And I'm like, you're nuts, dude.
Yeah. Nope.
Wow. Well, like I said, this has been an awesome episode. Thank you, Nick, for being on tonight. We'll have a part two.
For having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, after the museum, we'll have a lot more stories we could talk about and stuff. And
yeah, about how you took off running out of the jail.
That might still happen. We'll see.
Right on. I hope I'm there.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be there. If it's not me, it's somebody else.
We all know I'm not afraid to run.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
You see me run.
Right. So remember, guys, if you haven't noticed by now, we're on the Paranormal Brew and also the BB3 TV networks and the Midwest Ghost Seekers Facebook page as well. And if you do not have Facebook and you want to just go on YouTube, check us out at MGS Paranormal on the YouTube channel as well. So thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been a blast. And that's Taryn. That's Nick. And I'm Darren. I bid you adieu.
Oh, I love it. I make him say it. I say, you need to say that at the end of every episode.
I bid you adieu.
Part due.
Part due. So long, everybody.